Alright gang, let's address the elephant in the room. My Hero Academia is somehow one of the most hated anime on the entire internet, and as someone who's been watching the show and reading the manga, it's honestly crazy how much hate it gets just for existing. Today we're going to be breaking down the most toxic arguments behind the hate and why most of them literally make zero sense. Real quick though, huge shout out to JP Talks Too Much for inspiring me to make content, and now let's get into it. So after digging around and looking through some of the most popular anime communities online, I found the most notoriously infamous reasons people give for hating the show. You've got people complaining that Deku is just an annoying crybaby who ruins everything. Others argue that as the seasons progressed, he became way too overpowered, or that he's just a simple boring protagonist who does nothing but break his bones over and over again. And then of course, there's the fanbase, which honestly isn't even that far-stretched. I mean, this fandom got so toxic that people were literally sending death threats to the author, which sadly isn't even uncommon on the internet these days. So yeah, on the surface, it looks like people have plenty of reasons to hate. But when you actually sit down, watch the show, and look past this internet rage culture, most of these claims completely fall apart or just don't make that much sense. So let's start dissecting these arguments one by one, beginning with the classic. Look guys, I'll be completely honest. When I first decided to rewatch the show, I hesitated to start from season 1 because of how much Deku cries in those early episodes. And yeah, it can feel like a lot at first, but when you actually analyze his character, showing emotions in that way doesn't necessarily make Deku a weak protagonist, and it definitely doesn't mean he deserves all the hate he gets. First off, crying is literally just a part of his character. It's literally part of who Deku is, his core personality. It's literally how his body processes almost everything. And even though he's been told on multiple occasions by All Might to stop being a crybaby, he still does it. And it's because it's deeply wired into him. He was just a quirkless, bullied kid who spent his entire childhood being told he was worthless, could never be a hero, and suddenly he was handed the most heaviest body in human history by none other than his childhood idol. So you really can't expect a kid who was 14 by the way to have that level of trauma and just instantly turn into an emotionless brick wall. But here's the important key detail that almost everyone misses. Deku being such a quote-unquote crybaby never really stopped him from taking necessary actions. In season 1, while he's literally crying, tears of pure fear, his leg moves on their own to save Bakugo from the sludge villain. When no top hero, including All Might, who by the way was out of time, would not step up. He has empathy, which is literally supposed to be the foundational traits of a true hero. And if you still want to call him a soft crybaby, look at what happens when his emotions completely burn out. In season 6, during the Dark Hero arc, and what do we get? A ghost. He's starving, running on zero sleep, covered in mud, and isolating himself from everyone he loves just to carry society on his back alone. Now, I know there might be some people who prefer this Deku to season 1 or season 2 Deku, but honestly, I don't think the core fundamentals of a shonen protagonist has to always be isolation, acting nonchalant, dark, and being the ghost of your true self. It's literally not the whole idea of being a true protagonist or a true hero. Some people will often say Deku is such a boring protagonist because apart from being a crybaby, all he does is break his bones, and then they later say in the subsequent seasons he becomes way too overpowered. And you know, that's just basically acting like Deku should have mastered one for all on day 1. And let's look at the plain reality. Deku was born completely quirkless, and for 14 years he had zero experience handling any quirk, let alone the most powerful stockpiling quirk in history. He literally went from having zero natural resistance to wielding a force that could shatter buildings. And even after 10 months of physical hell cleaning coastal trash, his body still wasn't anywhere near for that massive physical impact. And breaking his bones wasn't literally boring writing, it was a realistic consequence. If a normal human being is suddenly forced to output 100% of a godlike power, it should break. What made early Deku so brilliant wasn't just him smashing his bones and fingers, it was his battle IQ. Basically, he couldn't rely on raw strength without destroying himself, so he had to use his brain. Looking at his fights with Todoroki at the sports festival, he calculated every single fluke just to stay in match. He used his injuries as tactical resources because he had no other choice. And as for the claim that he suddenly became overpowered when he unlocked the vestige quirks, Deku didn't just smash buttons to win. Unlocking Blackwhip, floats, and the other quirks didn't automatically make him invincible. It literally just gave him a complete toolkit that required a light coordination. He had to stack these abilities, combining abilities with his intellectual cognitive ability just to keep up with top tier threats. And finally, we will talk about the fandom. And there's no one denying that MHA fanbase has its toxic side. We've all seen the cringe shippings, the aggressive arguments, and the extreme harassment towards the author. But here's the thing. Other people's toxic nature should never dictate what you're allowed to enjoy. A toxic fan base doesn't change the actual quality of the story. So you shouldn't let random strangers on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, or any of the other social media platforms ruin a good show for you. Now, there are definitely other complaints out there that I could touch on, like people complaining about fan service and character over-sexualization, and depending on who you ask, that might be an issue for you. But at the end of the day, if you completely remove every second of fan service from MHA, it will still be MHA. It doesn't really define the plot, the themes, or the character arcs, it's just fluff. And this whole hot takes, all people hating on the show and all that. I mean, someone just decided to finally voice their unpopular opinions and others picked it up. Because, let's be honest, hate gets more attention. Saying, hey, this story is awesome won't generate as much discussion as saying this story sucks and anyone who likes it is an idiot. Also, we also have some people who dislike the ending and, the whole problem of the what ifs and the potential pundits. They usually start off as those dudes that say, oh man, I wish the story did this instead, I wish it ended this way. But slowly they devolve and degrade into this obnoxious asshole that keeps yelling, the story is different from what I think it would be. It's not especially smart, and when they describe their imagined version, it's almost this vagueness that they can't really provide any actual details for. At the end of the day, My Hero Academia isn't a flawless masterpiece, but a lot of the internet hates it gets is just bandwagon outrage for clicks. When you actually sit down and look at Deku's growth, his sacrifice and his tactical battle IQ, it's a story well watching. What do you guys think? Does MHA deserve all these hits, or are people just jumping on the trend? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit that like button and subscribe for more